If this railroad line runs in Chicago, why does it have Milwaukee in its name?
Hi everyone, I'm Tom and welcome to a scorching hot Chicago. It is really warm today, so we're going to seek refuge in a train. We're right next to Chicago Union Station. Many of you may know this station from the various Amtrak videos we've done here on the channel, but did you know that Union Station is also served by 6 Metra lines? Metra is the commuter rail system here in Chicago, and trains leave from 4 downtown terminals, and Union Station has 6 lines, which is more than any of the other terminals combined. Today we're riding the Milwaukee District West, which leaves Union Station heading north and then west. It's my first time on this line and I'm excited to take you with us. Let's go.
Today traveling with me is the always wonderful Lindsay. Now, why does the United States have so many Union stations? Is that a reference to perhaps the Union of States? While that's certainly not an illogical guess, the truth is, historically, Union stations were stations served by multiple railroad companies, allowing passengers to board trains from one central location in the city.
This main hall is always such a great way to start a trip. It really feels like I'm about to get on a long distance Amtrak trip. We're actually only going to be riding Metra for about 50 minutes today, heading to Roselle Station near the suburb city of Schaumburg.
Union Station today is served by Amtrak for its inner city routes and Metra for its commuter rail routes. Technically, it still is a Union Station. The tracks leading to the south are owned by BNSF, whereas the tracks leading to the north are owned by Canadian Pacific. We're buying a ticket for the Milwaukee District West line today, which will be running over Canadian Pacific tracks. To get to Roselle, we have to purchase a ticket for zones A through E. Now, a day pass would be $10 for this ticket. We didn't know exactly how we were going to travel back yet, as we were meeting up with a friend, so we decided to purchase a one-way, which was $6.75 each. Though Union Station has a large number of tracks, most of them are not through tracks, meaning that there's a separate northern and southern concourse. The majority of Amtrak trains leave from the southern concourse. The Hiawatha and the Empire Builder leave from the northern concourse, as does our Metra train today. Metra's Milwaukee District West, Milwaukee District North, and North Central service leave from the northern concourse. Our train today will be made up of the classic Metra gallery cars.
We've made it onto our train about 15 minutes before departure. That car we got on had no air conditioning. It was so hot in there, so we found a car that does have air conditioning. This is one of the classic Metra gallery cars. I'll show you a little bit of what they look like, but we've covered them in another video. So if you want more information on these unique looking cars, click the link above.
Basically, a gallery car is one large space with 2 balconies. This setup reduces costs as only 1 conductor is needed for a car instead of 2. Some are very old and some are more modern, like the one we were on today. This was my first time riding a Metra train where every seat had power sockets and USB outlets. You can manually flip the direction of the seats, and if you sit in the train airline style, legroom is alright, but if you face each other, it is not fantastic. As I've ridden more and more Metra lines, I've kind of grown to like the gallery car setup. I know that that's an opinion I don't share with a lot of people, and while they are impractical, I can appreciate them as a weird piece of US railroad history. Passengers sitting in the car behind us would be history if they sat in there for too long, so we saw a lot of people cross over into our air-conditioned car. Normally on Metra, they'll turn off the locomotive's head-end power for a little bit shortly before departure, and the lights and AC will go off. When the power turns back on, it's usually a pretty clear sign that the train is about to leave. No, that awful sound is not a demon trying to sing opera. It was something in the train's gangway. Fortunately, it went away about 10 minutes later. We just crossed a very popular rail fanning spot where all the Metra trains coming out of Union Station cross underneath the tracks coming out of Ogilvie Station. That noise resembling a snowplow running over a blackboard was compensated by the conductor's cheerful nature. Not only did they punch a smiley face in our tickets, they made all the announcements in song and cracked jokes with all the other passengers. Truly the greatest railroad staff interaction I've ever had in my life. After 3 miles, we arrive at our first station, Western Avenue. This is a different station than Western Avenue on the BNSF line. Chicago kind of has a problem with naming several stations after the same street. There are 5 Western Avenue stations on the CTAL alone, 2 of which are on the Blue Line. Soon after Western Avenue Station, our train is passed by a Chicago-bound Amtrak Hiawatha train, coming from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Milwaukee District West line goes to Big Timber Road Station in Elgin, Illinois. So not Milwaukee. Then why is it called the Milwaukee District West? Well, for that we're going to have to dive into the history of this railroad. The Milwaukee and Waukesha Railroad opened in 1847. In 1850, it was renamed the Milwaukee and Mississippi Railroad, or the M&M. Ultimately, this company would come to be known as the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific Railroad. By the early 1900s, the railroad network stretched to the Pacific Northwest, and several hundred miles in Montana and Washington were actually electrified. The Milwaukee Road then had the longest stretch of electrified track in the world. In the 1980s, the bankrupt Milwaukee Road was bought by Soo Line, a subsidiary of Canadian Pacific Railroad. Unlike some Metra lines like the BNSF line, Canadian Pacific does not operate the Metra trains on this line. Operation was transferred to the state of Illinois in 1982. Metra pays tribute to the Milwaukee Road with the name Milwaukee District West, but also through the line color, which is arrow yellow after the arrow trains that the Milwaukee Road used to operate between Chicago and Omaha, Nebraska. Time for a bathroom review.
Now approaching Elgin Park.
In my experience, Metra bathrooms are spacious and generally quite clean, although I have no idea why the sink was sealed shut on this train. Alright, now let's flush away the mess of the person who used this toilet before me. One fun part about a trip on the Milwaukee District West line is you pass south of O'Hare International Airport. Plane spotting can be a little bit difficult from down here, but there is a large freight yard as well as some abandoned Metra trains that you can see out the window. Waiting for a freight train, trauma. Shortly after O'Hare, I got a cool shot of this Canadian Pacific freight train coming to a stop on a track next to us. We were both lined up to let a Chicago-bound Metra train pass us. Now that freight train stopped, if I was part of the Metra marketing department, I'd say something along the lines of the Amtrak experience for the price of Metra.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh, the joys of passenger rail being dispatched by freight companies. Thankfully, we were allowed to go first in front of that freight train. We've now arrived at Itasca, which means that we're almost at Roselle Station, where we will be getting off the train today.
This is Itasca.
The next stop is Roselle. That's where we'll be getting off.
This is Roselle.
really hot out here.
Thankfully, my friend was already waiting to pick us up in the parking lot in his air-conditioned car. Thanks so much for watching this video on Metra's Milwaukee District West line. There are 11 Metra lines in total. Which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome for more train-related content like this twice a week. And we'll see you next time.